Hello, hello. We are going to go into the next direction for the Idaho reading. I just wanted to take a minute or two to explain again exactly the purpose of doing it this way, just because I saw a couple people asking about it. So essentially I think this is like reading 40 something about the Idaho case. So essentially my assistant went through and made a timestamp sheet of what time in each reading I said something. We turned those into puzzle pieces essentially, and then used the directional dice to give them a group. If you think of it like gym class picking, you go to the blue group, you go to the red group, you go to the yellow group. It's essentially the same thing with this dice. North, south, east, west doesn't really matter as much as like group 1, group 2, group 3. So essentially we took all the pieces from all of the readings and put them together. And again, this is available in the Dropbox so you can follow along. So we put them together, what goes in which group from all of the readings. Now, this is helping to piece it together because it shows us what connects to what other piece. The directional dice, the actual like north direction, south direction, east, that doesn't matter as much as we're grouping these things together in this group, and then we're grouping these things together in this group in order of how they came out in the readings. So hopefully that makes sense. North has developed into meaning that it is kind of what everything else is sitting under. So anything in that north group does seemingly point to the top of what's going on. And south has kind of pointed to the underlying or background issues. But in terms of the actual directions, it's not so much that it goes in a direction, it's that those things are grouped together and that group is represented by, in this case, a direction. So hopefully that makes sense. We are going into east. We did north and south already, so now we're going into east. Okay, so the first one is the killer was focused on one person in particular. And then the one after that is Jack was left with no choice. Knight of Wands. 10 of Wands. So this is like a very impulsive energy, a very fast moving, driven energy, getting directions and following them. And then we have the 10 of Wands, which is a heavy burden. So we have the killer was focused on one person in particular, and then Jack was left with no choice. I don't know if it's passing on information or what it was, but that there was, oh, the next line is there is or will be a distraction. Queen of Pentacles reversed. I don't know if it's just simply knowing information and not passing that information on, or if it's following some kind of instruction. So it's seeming to me like there is some choice that was made either to do or to not do, to say or to not say, to pass along information or to not pass along information. There's some choice like that that was made that had something to do with one of the victims directly, Kaylee or Maddie, and it had something to do with how the events unfolded. Like maybe letting someone know where they were, directly or indirectly. It could have been, oh, he posted this on social media and now I see this. It could be something like that where he doesn't even know. But it being that he was left with no choice, and then we got the card that's representing the link, but it's in reverse. It's making me feel like there's a once removed, like not directly from the link, but something that was from her desire to happen. Like she wanted something to happen and somehow got it to happen, but not directly through herself. The next one says the focus was on one of the two girls, Kaylee or Maddie. And then on the night of the murders, someone told Maddie not to talk about something and she did anyway. Ace of Cups reversed. That's like spilling it all out. Especially in reverse, it would be like, don't spill it out, and then spilled it out anyway. Queen of Cups reversed. The Maddie spilling it out. Yeah. On the night of the murder, someone told Maddie not to talk about something. Yeah, that's basically, this just represents what I read. On the night of the murder, somebody told Maddie not to talk about something and she did anyway. The passion seen in previous readings wasn't romantic passion, but was passionately protecting a person and or cause or secret. So in the beginning, when I was picking up, there's passion, and believing that it was romantic passion, essentially what I'm saying is the energy of passion is still there, but it's not romantic passion that caused this to happen. And that is connected to, on the night of the murders, someone told Maddie not to talk about something and she did anyway. And then we have the passion isn't romantic passion, but protecting a person or secret. To me, that is saying it was the ex that told her, don't talk about this. Quiet. Don't bring it up. And then a little bit later, she brought it up anyway. That's what that is saying to me, coming out in that order. Six of Wands, being in the public eye. So don't say this to other people. There's people here, they're listening. Don't talk about this. Eight of Pentacles reversed, trying really hard, working really hard at keeping, from his point of view, it could have been keeping them safe or keeping a secret, but it's working really hard to make sure that it doesn't come out to the public or doesn't come out to in a public setting where it could be unsafe. I do believe that what Maddie said was something that she was told, don't talk about that here, or don't talk about that, period. But from my reading yesterday, I did get that I don't feel as though she just was telling what she knew. It seems more like she was trying to set up the opportunity to do so at the right time, but that setting it up led to information getting in the wrong hands. And that would make sense there as well. Like, don't take it there right now. Don't talk about this here. There's people listening. Save it for another time, or just don't talk about it. Something along those lines. Some element of protection is present for Brian, but it's not in an obvious way. King of Wands. Is this the card yesterday that I said I believed he was going to change counsel? No, I think that was the Emperor. So I said some element of protection is present for Brian, but it's not in an obvious way. And the King of Wands is like taking control of a situation. Two of Cups. Yes, he's connected to somebody that has some kind of power. We just don't see it. Three of Pentacles reversed. Yeah, it's not like someone he's paying, it's someone. Okay, so there's certain people that are helping in the case. They're paid to do so or hired to do so. This is like a I owe you and I'm collecting type of energy. That has something to do with an element of protection being present for Brian, but not in an obvious way. Okay, there is some kind of financial transaction that is going to make it look like someone else is involved or poke at reasonable doubt. Interesting. So that one, we're connecting that to an element of protection present for Brian, but not in an obvious way. And then the next one that we're connecting to that is some kind of financial transaction that is going to make it look like someone else is involved. The Tower and Four of Cups reversed. Something major that gets the jury or the public to look at something in a different way. There's a big ball that's going to be big bomb that's going to be dropped. It's some kind of unexpected but very valuable information. And it's gonna, the reason that it's going to be dropped at the time that it is to get people to look at something in a different way, in a new light. It's almost like if whatever this information is released at the right time, it's like the case will stop going straight forward and will have to turn left or right. It's like putting a brick wall right in the middle of a highway. Clarifier for Four of Cups reversed. The sun. Yeah, bringing something to light. Turning the light on in a dark room. I don't know. It's some kind of information that played at the right time and in the right way will make you have to choose between okay, so I believe that Brian has some kind of information that if he puts it forth at the exact right time, in order for the brain to continue going forward with evaluating this case, this information would essentially be like, are you going to ignore this seed of reasonable doubt and keep going? Or are you going to say, okay, there's going to be reasonable doubt no matter what? Hopefully that makes sense. It's like something where he believes that once this information comes out, it will be unquestionable a seed of reasonable doubt that you can't wipe away once it's there. Only if played at the right time, though. Hold on a second. Okay, now we have... Oh, interesting. There will be some kind of off-the-wall defense. And Brian was very strategic about something prior to his arrest. Four of Wands, so that's the environment of the home, and Queen of Wands. Brian was very strategic about something before he left. I'm telling you, they found something in his house or his apartment. Not his house, his apartment. They found something in his apartment that connects him to, I believe, a surviving roommate. If not a surviving roommate, then maybe one of the victims. But I feel like something was left in his home intentionally. Because I just said some kind of off-the-wall defense. And Brian was very strategic about something prior to his arrest. And we got the Four of Wands, which is representing the home, his home, which would be his apartment. And then the Queen of Wands before was representing the possible connection that he could have purposely kind of not deleted all the way or not hidden all the way that could potentially connect him to a victim or a surviving roommate, or maybe someone in the inner circle, something like that. Essentially some kind of proof of connection to him and the victims was not all the way deleted on purpose. Which means I don't know if that will necessarily be used, because they may know he left it on purpose to open a door to something else. I don't know. But there is something found that, I believe, my opinion, this is all my opinion, something that connects him to the victims or someone very close to the victims that was left on purpose, or purposely not deleted or hidden or something like that. Brian wasn't expecting anyone to fight back in a way that could potentially injure him. And we're connecting that to Brian got someone to help him after the fact. 10 of Pentacles. Keep it in the family. Wasn't expecting anyone to fight back that could potentially injure him. Ten of Swords. It's almost like, so I said Brian wasn't expecting anyone to fight back in a way that could potentially injure him. And Brian got someone to help him after the fact. And we got 10 of Pentacles and 10 of Swords, both as like an ending. It seems like whoever put something in Ethan's drink, which I believe is something that happened, or some affected his ability to fight back or be in a rational state of mind, something. It does seem as though it's someone who knew Ethan and had a connection with him and wanted to sever that connection. Like friends that were done being friends, someone that had a falling out that previously had a close relationship and no longer did prior to the murders. As in the person that could have put something in his drink. So that person, we'd be looking for someone who was at Sigma Chi that night, has a connection to a female that has a close connection to the King Road residents. I don't know if it's the victims or the surviving roommates or both. And the person who put something in Ethan's drink would have not only a connection to that female, but they wouldn't really get along that well. It's not like him and that female would be friends. The female who was gathering and passing on information would have like acquaintances that don't really vibe together but know each other type of connection between the female and this male. And the male would be someone who previously had either a very close personal relationship or maybe something like a project or a business or something. I don't know. I feel like it's more of a personal relationship, like a close personal relationship that wasn't as close to Ethan within the month or two or more before the murders. There's a person pulling the strings, and Brian wanted to kill, and someone else selected the perfect victims for him. Interesting that they came out right next to each other. So there's a person pulling the strings, and Brian wanted to kill, but someone else selected the perfect victims for him. Death in reverse. Page of Swords. Communication, yeah. Death in reverse. getting stuck, not wanting to get stuck in a loop of continuously having to convince people that knew too much not to talk. And then the Page of Swords is representing communication or talking. So someone else is pulling the strings. Brian wanted to kill, but someone else selected the perfect victims. The perfect victims were selected because this person wanted to silence these victims so that they didn't get stuck in a perpetual, oh, do I have to check and make sure she's still not talking type of thing. Brian will claim he was at the home a different time, something relating to drugs. And some money was owed or due, or something was not fairly distributed. There was tension or disagreement because of that. Queen of Swords reversed. So we have Page of Swords upright, which just represented communication and essentially people knowing too much and other people wanting to silence them. And then we have Brian will claim he was at the home for a different time, something drug related, and some money was owed or due, or something was not fairly distributed. There was tension or disagreement. And we have the Queen of Swords reverse, which is about manipulation. This would be the queen that would unfairly distribute, or that would try to manipulate something so it works more in her favor. Three of Wands, waiting for something. Yeah, waiting for something. Yeah, waiting for something. A debt. It's like, so this is just an example or like a metaphor, but what I'm seeing is a situation like, let's say I'm selling cookies for you, okay? I'm selling cookies. You are a cookie distributor and I am a cookie runner selling cookies for you, okay? This is like, if you front me these cookies and I say, okay, I'll pay you back as soon as I sell these cookies, but it's taking a while for me to get money for these cookies. So I tell you, so-and-so has the money for these cookies and I'm waiting on this person, even though either it's not that person or it's spread amongst a bunch of people because of a bad decision that I made about what to do with these cookies. So this would be like, there's tension because somebody else is getting pressure put on them for somebody else's mistake. It's like if you're trying to buy time and you say, oh, I'm just waiting for so-and-so, but you're not actually waiting for so-and-so, you're waiting for other things, but like you put all of it on so-and-so. And that waiting period, it's almost like more lies started to build up to make up for the original lie because there was some kind of delay. That's what I'm seeing. Hopefully that makes sense. There were drugs being sold from King Road is the next one. Ace of Wands. Five of Wands. Conflict and disagreements. So I said in the previous reading, it was like things slowed down and then sped back up. And that's kind of what this is representing too. Like it's almost like there's this wave of people almost finding stuff out and then having to clean it up. People almost finding stuff out and then having to clean it up. And I'm wondering if it has something to do with the beginning of a semester or the beginning of a school year, where you go through that period of seeing who can be trusted and who can't. And then the people who know too much and can't be trusted have to be dealt with in some way. Because it's almost like that. It's like there's like a cycle or like a schedule, or like maybe it's like a set period of time, like give this person this information, let them sit with it, see what they do, see if we can trust them before taking it to the next level, that kind of thing. The next one is Bethany locked herself in her room due to an uneasy or scared feeling because of something she saw with her own eyes. And then the one after that is police are looking into someone who is connected to an accomplice. 3 of Cups reversed and Judgment reversed. So Bethany, in the previous reading, I said that I believe she saw the 3 people in the driveway. And then we have the 3 of Cups in reverse, which would represent almost like trying to make it look like it was like a party, but it was actually a meeting of some sort. And then Judgment in reverse is doubting what she saw. Like, I believe that she saw something, felt uneasy, but didn't correlate that to, oh, I think people are about to get murdered. I don't think she knew that at all. I don't think she knew anything bad was going to happen. And I think that that's what this represents. It's almost like now, looking back in retrospect, she's like, oh, I should have looked at it this way or seen it this way. But in that time, she didn't have the correct understanding to do so, especially because I believe that she was being purposely misled. And like, it's almost like people were trying to confuse her to be like, oh, that's not really what you see, or that's not, you're reading that wrong. Something like that. But this to me represents, I said she locked herself in a room due to an uneasy or scared feeling because of something she saw with her own eyes. And then we have the 3 people standing in the driveway trying to make it look like it's something it's not. And then her doubting what she believes that she saw, or doubting what she saw, or like doubting the feeling maybe she got from what she saw, because Cups are feelings. So it could be that she had an uneasy feeling and was like, no, I'm just, if people are already telling her you're overreacting, or that's not what you see, or you're crazy, it could have been one of those scenarios where she's like, oh, maybe I don't want to be crazy, I'm just going to ignore it. Kind of having that feeling that maybe something's not right, but overriding it. That's kind of what's represented by these cards. But then we also got police are looking into someone who is connected to an accomplice. The Chariot in reverse and 9 of Swords. Connected to an accomplice. It's like they're trying to put pressure on someone that they think they can break, but not someone that's directly involved. It's like someone who they think knows. This would be like police putting pressure on someone who they think knows something, but they don't think that that person realizes the weight of what they know. It's almost like trying to get them to talk about something that's unrelated to this crime, but so they can put pieces of the background together. Brian was wanting to commit this act, but someone led him to the victims. King of Swords and Knight of Pentacles. So King of Swords has been representing Brian the whole time, allegedly Brian. And then the Knight of Pentacles is like a very practical, makes sense, slow and steady wins the race type of energy. So this to me is saying that, like, it's almost like Brian had this crazy idea of what he wanted to do, and someone was like, oh, you can actually really do this. Here's how. This is like a, or maybe not here's how, but maybe like, oh, you really want to do this. Here's victims. It's like someone put a practical piece of the puzzle in place for Brian that allowed this to go forward. Like, gave him a physical piece of his mental puzzle that he was trying to make sense of. I lost my place. Okay, Adam spoke to someone who spoke to Brian or got info to Brian about the conversation with Maddie. So I said in the last reading that I believe that it wasn't him. And I think that this is why it's been a little difficult to read his energy, because I don't think it was him just maliciously passing on info. It's almost like he was trying to help set up a meeting or set up some kind of protection or something like that through passing on the info. Six of Pentacles, giving and receiving, yeah. Five of Cups reverse. So for trying to forgive himself. Yeah, it's, I don't think, and maybe that's, he can't say that because then it would be obvious that he's turning on that entire secret, okay? So he has to say something else, right? Especially because he just witnessed what happened to someone who wanted to talk. So why would he, right? That's like signing his own death warrant, essentially, if he were to just turn and say whatever that conversation was really about. I do think that he's trying to forgive himself for it, but I also don't think that him passing along information was malicious. I think he was doing what he was asked to do by Maddie, and I think he maybe not asked, but maybe implied, or maybe asked. But it to me, it's looking like he was trying to set up the next step in her process of releasing this information that she had. She wanted to tell the right thing to the right person, and he was somehow connecting her to that right person, or was at least attempting to. And I believe that's how that conversation got passed along. And I said in a previous reading that it's almost like the conversation was expected, and that would make sense, because if someone's looking for her, like, oh, when is she going to say something, and then she tries to set up a meeting with someone, it's obvious that what she's going to be saying is what is trying to be kept a secret, because she's trying to set up a meeting with someone to divulge this information that she has. The next one is Papa Rogers on Facebook is connected to Brian in some way, or someone who had firsthand convo with him. Two of Swords, Strength, and Ace of Swords reversed. It's all a ploy at reasonable doubt. I don't think it was Brian. I think it was someone who had a close connection to what happened and also had conversations with Brian. I almost feel like it was kind of like picking on Brian in a way, because Brian was still out and could... Was he still out? I believe when it started, he was not arrested yet. So it was almost like, yeah, because he said, I'm hiding in Pennsylvania, and that was before he was arrested. It's almost like whoever was behind that account was trying to show Brian, you better not talk, because I'll be able to get one over on you. Like, I have enough information. It's almost, it feeling like it was intended to get Brian to not talk about the other parts of this case that have not been discussed openly yet. His connections to others and his connections to this supposed organization. The Moon. Hangman. Three of Swords. Yeah, I really feel like it was someone who knew exactly what happened and was trying to publicly be like, you better not go there. You better not talk to Brian, based off of the information that they had from the firsthand knowledge of being passed that information by him. I said that I felt that the girl's stalker was more of intimidation. This is reading the same way. It's the same thing, but it's directed at Brian instead of the girls. There was never direct communication between Dylan and Brian. The Hermit. And Four of Pentacles reversed. I think that's just confirming, yeah, the Four of Pentacles reversed is like, there was never a direct connection between Dylan and Brian. Four of Pentacles reversed is there's money coming from or going to the same source from both of their ends, and the Hermit is representing solitude or seclusion. So essentially, this person has funds going in or out to this source. This person has funds going in and out to this source, but these two are not directly connected. It's only through that source. That's what those cards are representing to me. The next one is King of Cups was pulled, and it was representing an emotional attachment or investment. And this card came, so the King of Cups came out with a card that had 4 wolves howling at the blood moon. And on that card, it said illusion, egotism, and narcissism. Two of Wands, so making some kind of choice or decision. Knight of Cups. So I said King of Cups, emotional attachment or investment. And the Four of Wolves, the 4 wolves howling at the blood moon. And then we got Two of Wands. So it's like this male that had an emotional attachment had to step down and take his emotions down a notch, going from king to knight of the same suit, had to lessen his emotions and make some kind of choice or decision that he didn't want to make. Maybe not necessarily that he didn't want to make, but make a decision that benefited him regardless of who it hurt on the other end. The next one is someone with an emotional attachment to a victim is involved in some way in setup or aftermath. Seven of Pentacles, something to do with work or work that had been put into something. Seven of Wands, Seven of Pentacles, Seven of Wands. Yeah, it has something to do with putting in money and effort, or putting in effort and energy and getting money in return, and not wanting to ruin the energy and effort that you had put into something already. That could be romance, that could be business, that could be a partnership, that could be an initiation of some sort, that could be infiltrating yourself into a group of some sort. It could be a lot of things. Let's see what it was the most. But it's something that was giving a return on investment. Five of Swords reversed. So the person that's represented by the King and Knight of Cups that has an emotional attachment or investment and is in the scene of that 4 wolves howling at the blood moon that's involved in the setup or aftermath, I think that they're it's almost like they were willfully blind in the setup of it in some way. And then in the aftermath, it's more of trying to protect themselves than it is anything else. Like I know that I let something slide that helped this take place, but I'm not willing to admit that now. A female has turned on Brian. 10 of Cups. Which I kept saying, I felt like his mom was going to turn on him. And 10 of Cups is happy family card. Seven of Swords reverse, getting caught. Yeah, I don't know if it'll come out or not, but I really feel like his mom said something. I know they seem to be taking his side and having his back. And maybe she didn't say something to the police. Maybe she said something to someone else who said something to the police. Maybe not even on purpose. I don't know. But, and it could be something innocent like talking to a friend of hers and being like, oh, that's crazy that they're looking for that car. My son has that car. Something like that. It could be something like that. Or it could be, I'm scared of my son. I'm scared of my son did this. It could be anywhere on that spectrum. But I'm feeling like something stemmed from a family member. Either intentionally or not intentionally. And again, it could be someone else who called on behalf of something that a family member had said or they picked up on. Temperance. Page of Cups reverse. I was just thinking, I wonder if it's one of the sisters. Somebody had... It's like it's like the police were already working on a theory. And then somebody who knows the sister, one of the sisters, or has a connection to one of the sisters, turned over some kind of info or lead that like wasn't the lead that got him under surveillance, but it clarified something else that was already being looked into. And I don't think it's a huge deal in retrospect because they were already working on something else, but I think the confirmation that came from something was big. And I think it stemmed from someone who like knew the family, was looking into the family, something. Although that has me wonder, like, is it possible that someone who wanted to turn on Brian could have given that kind of information? Like someone who was in the same organization but felt threatened in some way. Made a little phone call like, hey, I know this girl and her brother fits this description, has this car, goes here. But it's something that it's not like someone gave this info to police and it was the police's first time hearing it. They already had it. They were already looking into him, but something was given to them that was a huge confirmation. But again, they didn't need the confirmation because they're already looking into it, but the confirmation definitely helped to solidify that they were going in the right direction. And for some reason, that is important. All right. Brian's car or apartment did give some kind of lead or info. Something was purposely, we talked about this earlier. Something was purposely left by Brian to connect him to someone else in case of getting caught. The Fool. And the Devil reversed, recovery, and the Fool. Yeah, it's like something. This will be like if you delete everything from a file or from the entire computer and you delete it, you wipe it, you get it completely like erased on top of erased. So if they recover it, you can't even see it, that kind of thing. It would be like if you did that and then you also went in and deleted something else, but didn't take the same steps to really delete it, like the other things. So it would look like, oh, he deleted it this way. There's nothing else to see here because this is the only thing in here that's deleted. And now we have this and it's incriminating. So it must be something that he didn't leave on purpose. I don't know, but it's not, it's something that was left intentionally. Like, I'm not going to take the extra steps to delete this further, or I'm going to leave it purposely. And it's something that either directly connects him to the victims or surviving roommates or someone close to them, or something that would have them start looking into that type of connection. It's something digital. It's something on the computer or like an iPad or something, like maybe in an email address. You know what I did? I wonder if it's like an email address that he had that he saved things on that wasn't like his main email, but there was proof of it somewhere else, and like he left certain things in the email but deleted others. Could be something like that. Brent and Brian are connected through the link through some kind of financial element. 9 of Cups. Wishes coming true. Getting what you want. 6 of Swords reversed. It's almost like Brent was trying to get out of something and they wouldn't let him. Like, you're not leaving, or you're not stepping away. Here's some money, be quiet. But he didn't accept that. He wanted to be done with something. Six of Cups and the World and Justice. So this would be representing the connection. They're both connected to the same thing. This would be representing him wanting to be done. I'm done. I want to close it out. No more. No thanks. And Justice here is representing that him wanting to be done with that brought about the conclusion that of how things happened. Like, because you want to be done, the situation unfolded where he lost his life. There's a lot of different ways that could happen. It could have been the tip that was called in. It could have been something staged or set up to make it look like a certain way. I'm not sure. But in some way, I believe that Brent wanting to be done with something brought about what happened. And the last one is last year, the beginning of the year was when Maddie began to feel scared, overwhelmed, confused, or misled, and it was due to a female energy. 4 of Swords. 4 of Swords is trying to protect yourself. 2 of Pentacles reversed. So she wanted to protect herself over something that she got a little bit too deep into. That could have been discovering too much information, getting too close to someone that you didn't realize had an ulterior motive. Maybe even divulging too much personal information to someone else. 8 of Swords reversed. Feeling trapped and wanting to get away. So my last, not the last reading, but one of the other readings, I said, I believed that Maddie wanted to leave for some time, but couldn't ruffle feathers and make it look like she was going rogue or something. This would represent that, because this is about wanting to be free, wanting to break out of this situation where she felt trapped. She wanted to protect herself. My phone's dying. Wanted to protect herself and had gotten in too deep in some way. Gotten in too deep, found out too much, something along those lines. And I believe that this happened again. The beginning of last year was when it started to kind of get her attention that, okay, something, you need to be careful about the way that you're going about this. Ace of Pentacles. It has everything to do with buying and selling of 2 different categories. Drugs and people. That's what I'm seeing. And I believe that people thought that she would it's almost like how I said that there's like that kind of like a schedule of like, can we trust these people, and waiting a certain period of time to see if they can be trusted or not. It's almost like people become aware of the one avenue of this organization, and then they're tested to see if they'd be okay with the other avenue of it. And if not, they're silenced. I want to just pull a couple. Just going to pull a couple of these. I'm going to pull 2 rows of 3. Actually, I'm going to pull 1 for each of the 4 and see what they want to tell us right now. So Ethan first. Oh. It's in reverse. Continuing and stand firm. But it was in reverse. Continuing, stand firm. So in this reading, we talked about the fight with Ethan, and it's almost like he is trying to say that he wasn't, the fight that occurred at Sigma Chi was because someone was like poking at him and he didn't back down. It's like something, whatever the female gave to the males in terms of information about like to pick that fight, it's like they knew how to hit him where it hurts. They knew to say something that he would not just let go, if that makes sense. Xana. It's in reverse. Innocence, align with the times. But it was in reverse. Innocence, align with the times. I feel like that's pointing towards Xana's mom. It's almost as if she's saying like, align with the times, but it's in reverse. So it's almost as if she's saying that, and I'm going to pull a card to confirm, but I feel like she's pointing towards, so we have innocence in reverse, align with the times in reverse, to me is saying It's pointing towards her mom, especially because it's showing like a woman holding the light in her hands, which is to me representing Xana's mom and then Xana. I know they didn't have the best relationship, but to separate what her mom is going through from this case. I know a lot are wondering if it goes together, but innocence in reverse is saying to me that Xana's saying, I know my mom is not innocent of what she did, that there's things that she needs to pay for. But align with the times also being on this card in reverse is not aligning, right? So it's saying to me that Xana's saying, I know my mom did some things that aren't great that she needs to pay for, but it's not having anything to do with this case. I'm gonna pull a card to confirm. The Star. Finding your way. That would be a huge confirmation. All right, let's go with Kaylee next. So we got two. One's in reverse. Nourishment. Be cautious in expression. But it was in reverse. Nourishment. Be cautious in expression. And then the other one is maiden. Difficulty in light of future. Nourishment. Cautious in expression was in reverse. So that is saying whatever was expressed verbally was not cautious. And we discussed that with kind of maybe Maddie letting things slip a little bit too early or earlier than she originally planned. And then difficulty in light of future is saying to me, these things were meant to come out eventually, just not yet, or maybe just not in this way, or maybe not in this setting. And the two cards coming out there for me is confirming that it's Kaylee talking about what Maddie was saying. And then last one is Maddie. All right, so wasn't aware, but these are the instructions for this deck, or like the info card. But I'm gonna read it to you because it says, I Ching, or Book of Changes, is one of the most important ancient books ever written. The Book of Changes has been used as an aid to foretell the future and make decisions for thousands of years. It is thought to be the oldest book on the earth. The book's origin goes back to mythical antiquity, and it has occupied the attention of the most eminent scholars of China down to present day. Confucius said that by following the advices of this book and studying it constantly, we can attain creative awareness in every situation. This is making me think of the dream that I had where it was Xana, Maddie, I forget which one, at the table, and I had the papers in front of me in my dream, and she was saying, no, it's all here, it's all here. And I kept saying, I don't understand. She handed the paper back to me and said, it's all here. I'm going to hold this up so you can screenshot it if you want. To me, this is almost as if Maddie is confirming that this is what we're meant to be doing to get the answers. We can attain creative awareness in every situation. That's what I'm taking this to mean, and that's how we're going to end this part of the reading. Next will be West. Again, this is all available in the Dropbox link that's in the link tree. It's the last link on the bottom. It says Idaho investigative something or other, and that's where all of these papers are. Talk to you guys soon.